Hey guys, it's Mundane Miracle Monday.
Yay! Back to our roots.
So, what's on the menu today?
In today's episode, we're going to tell some great stories from back in the day when we were just kids, taking road trips all across the country to music festivals. And yeah, basically that's all we did when we were kids. We just went to music festivals.
We were in our early 20s.
Yeah.
But, you know, just a kid.
Just kids. Everybody thought that you guys were younger.
True. Should have brought water.
Go get some.
It's fine.
Okay.
I'm trying to be like Matilda. Okay. So, you want to start?
Sure.
Let's start with the first trip.
The very first road trip that we ever took. We talked about it a little bit on our very first episode, but we'll go we'll share some more details with you this episode. It was for audio feed. Oh my gosh, what year was that?
Probably 2016.
16?
Maybe 2017?
I think it was 2017.
Oh yeah, because we went 2017, 2018, and 2019. Yeah.
So, yeah, it was our very first time meeting in real life. We were just babies back then. I took like a solo road trip to North Carolina from Indiana to pick them up. And then we were going to drive back to Illinois. But because they had never really been, when I say they, I mean Angelica and Erica.
Yeah.
Simon
sisters.
The Simon sisters. We called ourselves the audio feed grandmas. The very first year. That was funny. Why did we do that?
Why did we do that? Like, we weren't even like grandmas.
I think Erica and I were. We've always been grandmas.
Because y'all go to sleep early?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. But yeah, so I took a solo road trip, and because they had never been further west than, I think we decided it was Asheville. Do you think that was as far west as you were?
Yeah.
They had mostly grown up going like around the East Coast.
East Coast, yeah.
So I grew up in the Midwest, and my parents are from the West Coast, so I was like, there is so much for you to see. Let's like make this road trip count. And so the next day we packed up my little Corolla and we went on the longest road trip of our lives. And we stopped in so many different places. We stopped in Asheville first.
Yes.
And then Nashville. I think maybe those were our two main stops.
Yeah, but it took a big toll because
we stopped and like got coffee, walked around.
We went to the park, like the
we went to
park in Nashville.
Yeah, Bicentennial Park.
Yeah.
And when we were in Asheville, we stopped at this really cool, fun double-decker bus coffee shop. And we have pictures from that experience, and you can tell it was our first time meeting because we were like there was like distance between us in the pictures. It's funny.
It's crazy looking back even on our outfits. Like,
yeah,
we've just changed so much. It's weird.
Yeah, and then we went to audio feed. We were staying with one of my friends the night before audio feed. She lived not too far from where audio feed was. I think it was like a 30-minute drive. So we pulled in to her place it was like 4:00 in the morning or something.
4?
I don't know. It was really late.
Yeah.
And we were only going to get a couple hours of sleep. I remember that. And I remember waking up and my phone hadn't even charged all the way. And I was like, man, I wasn't even asleep long enough for my phone to charge. Like, that's when you know you haven't been sleeping. But she was so sweet and waited up for us. I kept telling her, like, you can go to bed and we'll just come inside. She was like, no problem. She's a mom. Yeah, that was fun. And then we woke up the next morning and just drove the rest of the way to the park, to the fairground, wherever. And what were some of your favorite experiences from that first year?
That's a good question.
One memory that sticks out to me was, it was really, really cool. They had, the first year that we went to audio feed, they had a water truck there.
Yeah.
And oh man, I wish they would have kept that up because that was so
amazing.
Nice. It was
like very necessary, honestly.
Yeah. It was this guy in a little, I guess it was like a food truck type situation. This hippie man. It was called Love Water. I will never forget this. It's like purified water, like filtered. It was filtered water. And this guy that was running the truck, Erica and I went to go get water to fill up our water bottles one time. And he just struck up a conversation with us. I guess we looked like the type of people who would want to talk about water. Honestly,
y'all talk forever.
We talked to him for like 45 minutes about water, and he like pulled us into his truck because the filling station was on the outside of the truck. And then so he was like, he said, do you guys want to this is so stupid, how could we fall for this? He was like, do you guys want to come in? He was like an old hippie, that's the best way I can describe him. And he was like, do you guys want to come in and see the setup in the truck? And Eric and I, who are both people pleasers, were like, okay. So we went into this truck with this hippie man, and he was telling us all about water and how like people say that they don't like water, but really it's because they haven't had good filtered water. And it was something about the smell, like you smell water before you taste it, and so you have to get all the impurities out so that you don't smell anything bad before you drink it. But it's like not something that you can consciously smell, it's just like a sense. And oh my gosh, he went on and on and on about water. And he was like some kind of non-prof, like he was trying to get water trucks like to Africa or something. And yeah, I mean, it was crazy. And Erica and I were like, we didn't know how to like leave the conversation because that's also who we are as people. And
same.
It was like interesting, but also I was like, we are in this water truck with this man and nobody knows where we are.
And also like there's different bands play at different times. So you have to like be ready to go see the bands you want to see. And if you're distracted, you could miss out on like,
a whole set.
Yeah.
Because we were in there for 45 freaking minutes.
That was our first year. And we didn't really know much about camping in a sense. Like, well, we did enough.
Just not camping there.
Yeah. And so no one told us where to go. So we just kind of picked a random spot to set up our tent.
And we did ask some people for help, and they're like, just set up anywhere.
Yeah. And meanwhile, like, there's a specific place that people do set up. And, like, we set up like on the outside of like where everyone else does, but not in like, it was like a random spot, and there was one other tent over
I was
there.
gonna say there was
and I think they did that on purpose because they wanted to be away from everybody. So God knows what they were doing. Probably they wanted to party or maybe they wanted to sleep, but nobody really
I like that that's the two extremes.
Yeah, but it was because it was like,
but that was also really
wasn't
close.
like it was old people, it was still young people, so I doubt they just wanted to sleep, you know, but maybe.
But it was really close to the one tent.
Oh, yeah.
What was that called?
I don't know.
I don't remember. It was a scary tent.
Yeah,
that's what I called it.
We didn't go there.
The muddy tent.
But, yeah, so we went to set up our tent, and it didn't work.
Yeah, my dad had helped me. Like, we had prepared beforehand to make sure that there were, like, no holes in the tent or anything. And so we set it up. My dad and I set it up in our backyard, like, a couple days before I left. And there was like one rod that was too long. It was, I don't know. So he was like, no worries, I'll cut this rod. 'Cause it was just like one, you know how like tents come apart in like pieces?
Yeah.
So it was like one piece too long. So he's like, I'm going to cut this piece off and then you'll be good. And I was like, okay. And my mistake was that I just trusted him. That was my bad. Because then when he didn't like bring it to me after to like put it in the tent. He just cut it and then we packed the tent up and I left. So we got to audio feed and we're trying to set up this tent and we can't, like, it wasn't working. There was one side that it wasn't long enough. And I was like, this can't be happening. And we were asking everybody for help because I was like, this has to be user error. I know that I put this tent up and it was fine. And so like we must be doing something wrong. So we were asking a bunch of people for help. And at one point we had like 3 guys working on our tent and it was not working. And finally they were like, your tent is busted. Like this is not going to work out for you guys. And we were doing it in the field, like away from the other tents.
Yeah.
And like, why, when we were doing that, when we were setting up with those 3 guys, why didn't any of them say, hey guys, this is not an ideal spot to camp.
Yeah.
You're going to want to be over there.
Especially because there was like no bathrooms near us or anything. Like that was not a good spot.
No, and it was just going to be away from everybody. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, that was not helpful.
Yeah, that was weird. And it was like kind of frustrating because everyone we would ask would literally say just anywhere. It doesn't matter. It is like, but like we want direction.
Yeah, we can't just. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a new place, especially.
So then we're like, okay, what do we do? Our tent doesn't work. And our friend who was helping us set up the tent, he was like, I think I have somebody. Let me see what I can do. So he was like, my friend has space in her tent that you guys can stay with her. So that really saved the day because, like, what would we have done? And we stayed in her tent, and like we would come back just to like get some stuff at like 9 o'clock, and she would already be asleep.
Which honestly, living the dream.
See, that's why I was like, y'all weren't that much of grandmas.
Yeah, true. I
But-
wish we were.
But like we felt bad because every time we would come back, it would be late. But like we were also trying to make the most of it, and like we didn't know every time we opened up the tent, like we were waking her up. We didn't know her. Like
yeah,
this
she
was our first
total
time.
stranger.
Yeah, this was our first time meeting her, so it was like just so weird for us. But like we were thankful, and like it was fine. But
And I remember this so vividly. She was sleeping on an air mattress, and I was like, why didn't we think of that?
yeah,
And so then we went out and bought air mattresses for the next year. And oh my gosh, what a game changer.
if we didn't, that would have sucked because the next year our tent got rained out.
Oh my
Rained.
gosh, it got flooded. Let me tell you, it rains every year at Audio Feed. That's just how it is. You just know it's going to rain
It's
one of the
really
days.
hot and it rains.
It's awful because then it gets really muddy. But so we were at an inside stage, and it was going to rain, or it started to rain, and we could see our tent from where we were, and we could see that it was collapsing. And so I ran and went inside the tent to try to like save the things that I could save from getting wet. And so I'm like holding the tent up and trying to like keep it stable. And there's like thunder and lightning happening, and I'm just like taking a video of myself in the tent while it's storming. And that was crazy. I don't know why I was the only one that went.
I know.
That's very unusual.
I was just thinking that too. Like, did we not come at all?
No. I was sending you guys Snapchats.
And we just,
I don't know why. You guys must have been doing something.
yeah.
I don't remember.
Well, probably watching.
Watching
somebody's
a set.
but I don't know why we just had to be struggling alone.
It's so
That
funny.
sounds terrible. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Good memory. Good story.
So there was this kid there that looked exactly like Justin Bieber. Like
Literally.
he had the same look, the hair, like everything. Like we didn't think it was Justin Bieber, but we were like,
Well, the first time we saw him, it was just like very quick, like a flash, and we were like, Justin Bieber? Is that Audio Feed? What's going on? And then we just had to get a look at him because
Yeah.
we had to know.
yeah. And every time we would see him, we just talk to each other as like Justin Bieber boy. We kind of had nicknames for a lot of people. You know, we were kids.
Yeah.
But
As
he
if
was.
we don't still have nicknames for people.
It was just crazy to us because he was just so different.
He was different, like he was dressed differently than all the other guys there.
And he never hung out with anybody. He was
He
always walking
always
around.
alone. And
And he always
had
had
a-
his head held high like he was something.
Yeah.
Like he wouldn't look people in the eyes. He would walk and just like you could watch him just like he was Justin Bieber. Like it was so weird.
And he had these big sneakers on.
yeah.
And he always was wearing like a press badge. Like,
Yes. It
yeah,
was funny.
he was like such an anomaly, and we were like, we wanted to figure out what that was.
Yeah.
And we were like asking people, and people were like, no, we don't know who that is. And I kept like sneaking pictures. I was the queen of sneaking pictures back then. I can't do it very well anymore because phones are too big. But I used to be able to sneak pictures so good.
And it sounds creepy, but we just like it wasn't like that. I don't know. It was just like
Well, and we weren't like, I wasn't taking the pictures to post them anywhere. I was taking them to send to Vanessa to be like, look at this guy that looks like Justin Bieber.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was just so crazy. I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't creepy. It was just like it was
We were
funny.
just
It was just
shocked.
a part of the show.
Yeah.
You know? And so that was an interesting part. That was fun. And then there was this other kid we met. He just like came up and started talking to us. And like that's kind of how it was at Audio Feed. Like you
Yeah.
kind of just make friends with people. But we could tell that he just was making up stories as he went, and he was like trying to impress us so bad, and like we obviously were just like uninterested in that. Like we were fine with being his friend until he started lying. And
Yeah,
like
it was like he was just lying just for fun.
yes, and at every time because he would come talk to us like every day, and come with a new story, and he just like go on about how
They were
he-
like crazy stories.
Yes, and he's like, wish I could remember them all, but he was like, yeah, I have a truck and I have a Mustang and I have like just all these things, and like we're like, okay. Like that doesn't impress us. And also we knew he was not even telling the truth. It was just, and he was young, so it's like, I know you don't own all these cars. And
yeah, like maybe your dad has those things.
Yeah. And like it was always a new story with him, and we tried to avoid him because it was just like he would just like tell us all these lies and like
it was
these
so
stories,
obvious that they were lies.
and like he was a nice kid, but like
Definitely just looking for validation.
yes,
Poor guy.
Yeah.
And he would also tell us, like, he would be like, this band, I hung out with them at this in this year, and we were like, okay. And I think he tried to say something about My Epic, and we were like, don't even get us started on My Epic. Like, we actually know them.
Yeah.
Like,
but he was acting like they were all people that like are like crazy celebrities, and it's like
yeah, it's like
it's
okay,
all
this
bands
is,
at
like
this same show, like this fest. Like no one here is like up here. They're pretty much all on the same level ish.
Except for My Epic. Just kidding.
Except for Flatfoot 56.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. That one guy talked to us. That was the first year too.
The weirdo or the there was this guy that talked to us in a weird voice. Like
I can find the video.
Yeah, she's gonna have to play it for y'all because that was not real. Like that was not a real
so
human.
Crazy. It was nighttime and we were sitting on this bench. I think we were eating.
Yeah.
And he just came up and started talking to us. Let me find it.
This guy's eating my lunch. Why? I'm like, oh, it's fine. He always does it. We'll get you a new one. So I'm waiting, and I get my lunch, and I eat it. And
like, what?
There's no way. There's no way. Is there
that
more?
Was crazy. No, that's all I had. That was back in the day when you could only take 10-second Snapchats.
Oh, that's crazy. But yeah, he just came up doing that, and it's like, what is this?
So we were just like trying to eat our food, and we were looking at him like, is this real life? Like, because honestly, like,
he was acting like dead serious, like that's who he is.
And also, Audiofeed is just like a mixed bag of people, so it wouldn't be like that crazy if he was being legit.
Like there was furries at Audiofeed.
Yeah. And it's like this place of like love and acceptance, and so we wanted to be loving and accepting of this guy, but we were also
I think we were like avoiding the whole thing at all costs.
It was crazy. It was just so weird.
The same kid that we said earlier that would like make up stories and lie, he actually started talking to us in an accent, in a fake like Australian?
Yeah.
A fake Australian accent. And we knew it was fake, and then he would literally just switch out of it.
Yeah.
And that's when we knew he was a liar. Oh my god.
That was crazy.
So basically the moral of the story is like a lot of guys were just trying to impress us, and we were so uninterested.
That's so true, actually.
Wow. Good times. That was just the first year. We probably have more stories.
Yeah, probably.
And then the second year,
Justin Bieber boy was there again.
And Vanessa came with us.
Vanessa came. Oh my gosh, it was so fun when Vanessa came with us. It like added an extra layer of like everything. She's so funny.
And so she was actually able to find him on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
We didn't know his name. We didn't know anything.
Nothing.
And she found him on Instagram. She wanted to know, he was like her age, so. But Mariah had an anonymous Twitter.
I did. I had an anonymous Twitter back in the day that really got me into some trouble a couple of times. But that's how I met the Simon sisters, actually. So it holds a special place in my heart. But yeah, I had this anonymous Twitter account, and so I was tweeting about Justin Bieber boy at Audiofeed, and I wasn't like using any hashtags. It was nothing. It was like
Justin Bieber boy.
Yeah, it was just like, there's this boy here that looks like Justin Bieber. Well, I attached a photo. His brother's girlfriend found that tweet. I have no idea how she found it. I guess maybe she was searching the word audio feed.
She had to have been.
Which I should have known. She quote tweeted it and tagged him and was like, "This you?" And I was like, oh no.
We were freaking out.
Because like at that point it was like kind of anonymous, but like I posted pictures of all of us very frequently.
So she knew.
So yeah, they would have known who we were and that we were creepy stalkers. And I was freaking out. Vanessa was freaking out. I was texting my brother like, we got caught. So that was crazy and unfortunate. And you know what? We still never exchanged a word with him.
But we did walk past them.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
they were
gosh.
staring at us, so
Yeah.
they knew it was us.
Totally knew.
It was like her boyfriend and him, and they were staring at us all, but we had to like look straight, act like we don't know who they are. We didn't look at them at all. We just walked, and we knew they were staring at us, and that was a terrible feeling, but
Yeah.
also like, well,
Yeah.
because we all like I think they knew it was all of us too, because I think we had responded to the tweet, or
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like, man, Twitter was a different world.
Ooh.
Really exposed us a lot. But
yeah, for real.
yeah, so that was interesting.
And also lesson learned for me. Actually not. Lesson not learned for
No.
me. But yeah. Twitter was a dangerous place for me.
Yeah. For all of us.
For all of us. One night we were sitting under an awning.
And this guy walked up and was like, "Can I sit with y'all?" And we didn't know who he was.
And we were like, okay. And I mean, I guess that's not, again, it's not unusual for audio feed, but like, that was just so weird.
Yeah. It was cool though, because it's like, it's fun that here we can kind of just do that. So he sat with us and we just started like talking.
Yeah. And then the kid that was a liar came. He came over and joined us. And oh my gosh, we all looked at each other like, oh no, here we go. And he started, I don't remember what we were talking about, but he tried to say something about Lovely the band. And like something about how he knew them, or he discovered them or something like that. And I had known about Lovely the band since before they even existed, really, because I loved Five Sauce, and Five Sauce is best friends with Lovely the band and Mitchie and everything. So anyway, I knew way more than he did about Lovely the band. And the way that I knew more is because he said something about how he listened to their song every morning, and he just called them the band Lovely. And I said, Lovely the band? And he was like, is that what they're called? Excuse me? You're going to try to act like you know. I still get fired up about this. I hate it when people pretend to know things.
He was a liar.
He
like,
was a liar.
Like
And that was a
that's
lie
all
that I
did.
caught him in. I think he tried to tell me that he knew them.
Yeah, he did try to tell you
And I
that.
was like, bro.
But he couldn't even remember their name.
Right.
Never trust a liar.
Never trust a liar. That was a crazy night. And then, oh my gosh, it came up that I'm a vegan. And I don't remember why that came up. Maybe it didn't. He was just talking about something about the ethical, like eating animals ethically. And he was talking about how like you can kill them in humane ways to eat them. And I said, there's no humane way to kill an animal. Killing an animal is killing an animal. Like, it doesn't matter how nice you are about it. They still die. And then I told him that I was vegan, and he was like, yeah, I've thought about going vegan before. Everybody's thought about going vegan before, apparently.
Yeah, they always say that.
They always say that.
But you know dang well he
Never thought
never
about
thought
going.
about it.
Oh my gosh.
That was so fun though.
That was fun.
Just making like friends and like talking and everything. Playing hide and seek. We did that a couple times. Not you. but
yeah,
me and
Erica and I would go to sleep and
Yeah.
you guys would play that.
But another thing is it was so hot
And humid.
that our tent, when we'd wake up in the morning, because it was uncovered, our tent was so hot.
Oh my gosh, it was like an oven.
Yeah. And at the time, me and Vanessa, we would do like a full face of makeup. And I was very insecure back then, so I didn't want to leave the tent until I had makeup on. And it was so hot in that tent. So hot. But I would continue to do my makeup, and I'd be dripping sweat and like putting makeup over it. And instead of just going to the bathroom, where it was hot there too, but it wasn't as hot because at least there was shade, our tent was just straight up in the sun. That was the second year in the row of mistakes. Never put your tent in the direct sunlight.
Well, yeah, there were not very many trees, and by the time we got there, all the trees' spots were taken.
Yeah. And also, there's no blockage from rain, so that's why we had that problem.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was just like, it was kind of like miserable to wake up in that tent. Like, it was so bad, but
You felt like
well.
sick when you woke up because it
Yes.
was so hot.
and we were dehydrated. I know that. Vanessa actually passed out in the bathroom. Something bad happened to Vanessa both times she
Both
went.
times.
But yeah, she passed out in the bathroom, and then this girl was spraying hairspray in her face, not like directly in her face, but she was spraying hairspray like right near her, so it was just going down into Vanessa's face while she's literally like passing out on the floor in the bathroom. And meanwhile, I'm in the mirror just doing my makeup. This was one time we did go, and yeah, and then at night, like at 3 a.m., we would go me and Vanessa would go take showers, and like it was like those campsite type showers, so it was just like dirt all on the floor and everything.
And those nasty shower curtains.
Yes, so vulnerable.
Yeah, for real.
And we had this weird girl that we passed in the bathroom, and she like stared into our soul, and like we didn't know who she was, but she just stared into our soul, and we were like, what is wrong with that girl? Like, it was creepy. It wasn't like a normal stare into your soul. Like, it was just weird. And then every time we would see her, she would look at us that way. She would walk past and kind of like look at us a certain way and stare into our soul. We were so creeped out by her.
I don't remember that.
Really?
Yeah.
We were like, what is wrong with this girl? Like, what is going on? So that was weird.
I feel like the second year wasn't I feel like that was the most tame year out of all three. Because we were like, we went in with like knowing how to do things. We were like pretty confident, but it was still like, we still ran into a lot of things. Like Vanessa passing out in the bathroom.
Yeah.
There was no water truck that year. That was sad.
Yeah, they never came back.
Then we had to just use the like spigots to fill up our waters, and it wasn't cold. That was the other thing about the love truck.
Yeah.
It was cold when you got it out. God bless that man. I have looked him up a couple of times. I've Googled him to see if he's like still in business, and I just can't tell. Like, he has a Facebook page, but I can't like tell if it's the right one or like if it's...
If I was audio feed, I would pay him to come back.
For real.
That was an amazing truck.
He must be really expensive.
Yeah.
To do that for free.
Yeah.
It must have been really expensive.
True.
But it was a good time.
And then our third year at audio feed.
We finally had it figured out then.
Yes.
We were like, we knew what we were doing at that point.
We had the tent in the perfect spot. Thank God, because it stormed so bad this time. And they had these like awnings, like kind of like a pavilion type thing.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
So that's where we put our tent, and it was amazing. We were blocked from the sun, so we actually weren't burning up when we woke up. We were blocked from the rain, and one day it stormed so bad there was like puddles all down the side. Our tent was completely protected, and it was like we had neighbors because like the whole place was filled with other tents.
Like really close.
Yeah. Yeah, so we at least figured that out. But then Vanessa, of course, couldn't just enjoy her time. She had an allergic reaction to some medicine she was taking, and she was blown up.
She was covered in hives. She woke up one morning with like a fat lip, and we were like, "What's wrong with you?" And it just kept getting worse. And
her
she
lips
was
were like
Kylie Jenner
done wrong, like crazy.
It was so bad, and it was all over her arms and legs, and it kept like her eyes were like swelling. Poor girl, she was so itchy. And of course, Erica and I jumped into mom mode, and we were like, I think I was the one that figured out that it was the medicine that she was taking. She was like, it made her extra sensitive to the sun. And so I was like, we got to get her medicine changed. And Erica and I went to Walmart, and we got Benadryl, like a bunch of anti-itch creams. So then we went back to where Vanessa was, and like word had got out that Vanessa was not well. And so people kept coming up to us. We were just trying to get back to the tent, and people kept coming up to us. How's Vanessa? How's Vanessa? And man, that girl, she was popular. But poor Vanessa. She was always having something happen to her.
Always.
Oh, are you going to talk about where you were when Vanessa was having her allergic reaction and she was on her deathbed in the tent and she was just so miserable?
So,
and where were you?
Okay, well, my boyfriend now, Gary, he wasn't my boyfriend at the time, but he was like he was in one of the tents, like preaching basically. And so I was like, I can't miss that. And so they went to the store, and they were like, keep an eye on Vanessa. And it was time to go to his set. So I still went. So I can't miss out on that.
So we came back from the store, from getting Vanessa all of these things. We got her water. We got her a probiotic drink. We got her a lemonade. We got her medicine. We got her Benadryl. We got her Benadryl cream. We got her anything that you could possibly think of. And we come back to the tent, and Jel's not there. And we were like, where's Jel? And Vanessa, in her poor swollen up face, she said, she went to go see Gary. And we were like, she just left you here alone? Our little baby?
Oops. My bad. She was dying, but no, she wasn't really dying.
No, she wasn't. But
And I asked her, I was like, are you okay? Are you going to be okay? And she said, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
she was
And-
probably thinking, what am I going to do? Like, say no and make you stay in this tent with me?
But I did have a point. I don't know if it was in the middle of him speaking or as soon as he ended. But I remember, like, I was so scared that something happened to her. So I literally, like,
Booked it back.
booked it. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh. I was so scared when I got back to the tent something would be wrong. But she was still just there chilling with her blown up face.
I have a video of her in the car. Because we would like take breaks and sit in my minivan, my mom's minivan, and have the air conditioning blasting on her. And I have a video from that. And she's so beat. She looks
Poor
so
thing.
beat.
So there's like this park behind Audio Feed, and there was like an opening through the fence, and like you can leave the park and come back, but we went through the fence to go to this like park.
Who's we?
Me, Ness, Gary, and Matt. Yeah. So
Was this at night?
no, it was in the daytime.
Where were we?
I don't know, but we like just were bored and we went like through the fence and kind of like through the woods. It wasn't obviously we bought tickets and stuff, so we were like able to be in the park. So when we came back, we had to come back in the same way we came, or else you have to go like around the whole entire fairgrounds to get back in, and like that would take forever. So it kind of looked like we were just like sneaking in, but we like weren't.
You had the wristbands.
Yeah. So, like, as we're walking up, we, like, get a little bit past the open fence. And the security that was, like, on the golf cart, he comes, like, coming past. And we had to just, like, casually keep walking. Like,
Oh.
he didn't see us, like, come through the
okay.
thing. But, like, we also were supposed to be there, but it just felt so weird because it was, like, we're breaking in, but we're not. I don't know. It was just fun. It felt so, like, rebellious.
That's so funny. I don't remember that story. I mean, I wasn't there, but I don't remember you ever telling me about
Yeah.
that. But you must have. I don't know.
Maybe.
But, I just thought of another crazy story from year one. There was one night, I think it might have been like the last, I don't know what night it was, but we went, there was like this big hill that we kind of like hiked up. One of our friends was like, come look at the moon with us. And so we hiked up this hill. I mean, it wasn't like a hike, but it was like we had to climb up this hill. And there was a girl there that none of us knew. I don't know why. Maybe she was just up there and we invaded her space. I don't remember. She was up there with her boyfriend and she like only spoke Tumblr. It was so crazy.
I forgot about that. That was so weird.
Yeah. And it was like, she was like trying to be like poetic and like dark and mysterious. But it was like, girl, I read all of this on Tumblr
Literally.
like 3 years ago. But yeah, that was just so like funny and strange and so unusual because like people at Audio Feed aren't like that. And so to like come across a Tumblr girl in real life was unexpected.
That was an interesting time too, because then we were up there like with our friend, this guy that was literally our friend, just had our whole like group chat, and the girl, I guess like he was talking to, we didn't know they were at the time, she was like up there with us, and at some point she kind of like stormed off. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Because like we didn't know why she was there.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't tell this story.
She like stormed off, and we were like, we didn't understand why
Yeah.
until like I think like a week later we found out they were dating. They started dating.
Yeah, they like
And we were
made
like-
it Facebook official and we're like, that's why she didn't want us
Yeah.
up there.
And that's crazy because like we had no like
Yeah, we had no
No,
idea
like-
that they were talking
Yeah.
anyways, but also we were not interested in
no.
him.
I mean, he did like you.
Yeah,
Before
it
that.
doesn't mean that he wasn't interested in us.
Yeah.
But we weren't interested in him.
Yeah, so that was such a weird thing.
Yeah, that was crazy. I think that was the last night. And so then like it was just like weird.
Yeah.
Like
She
the
was
trip
gone
like
in the
ended
morning.
weird, yeah.
Honestly, so much happened in those few years of Audio Feed.
And the best part of Audio Feed every single year, the best part was this vegan restaurant in Champaign
Yes.
called The Dancing Dog. Oh my gosh. It was so delicious. And like, what a treat to be able to find a vegan restaurant there. It was just all vegan. And Erica one time got a buffalo chicken sandwich chicken, but poor girl didn't realize that it would be spicy. She was like not herself when she ordered it, I guess. And she took a bite and she was like, she cannot handle spicy. And so she was like sweating and she kept she was trying to like scrape off the buffalo sauce
And like pour ranch
she
all
kept
over
asking for more and more ranch. Poor Erica. It was like drenched in ranch by the time she was done. But oh my gosh, it was so good. And every year we would bring somebody new to the dancing dog.
it. Yes. And they always loved it because it was so good.
It was so good. One time, I'm pretty sure it was the second year. Maybe it was the third year. I don't remember. But either the second or the third year, I met up with the Simon sisters in Knoxville. So I met them halfway. Their parents drove them to Knoxville, and then I drove them the rest of the way because Knoxville was about halfway for us. And I had gotten off work and just drove straight to Knoxville after work. And I was wearing a skirt. It was my favorite work skirt. And so obviously, like, we met up at a Starbucks and I changed in the Starbucks because I didn't want to drive all the way home in a skirt. I didn't really even want to drive there in a skirt, but it's whatever. So I changed in the bathroom at Starbucks and I never saw that skirt again. I think I left it in the bathroom
Oh my gosh.
of that Starbucks. And I think about that.
R.I.P..
Yeah, I think about that sometimes because I got the skirt at Burlington Coat Factory, so it's not like I could just go back and get another skirt because it wasn't going to be there anymore. But, man, that was my favorite skirt. And then it just disappeared into Starbucks in Knoxville, Tennessee.
R.I.P. skirt.
R.I.P. There were a lot of naps taken in the car and in the hammocks.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the hammocks?
Yeah.
Those were the days.
But overall, like, audio feed was really fun.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like camp for adults.
Yeah.
And it felt like another world in there. Like, it honestly felt like you, like, entered a different dimension.
Yeah, 'cause like, everybody was just very, like, everybody talked to each other 'cause we were all there for the same reason. Yeah. And there was always music. You could always go and see somebody playing.
Yeah, you would actually hear it through the night.
Yeah.
And there would be, like, we all had the same thing happen to us, that when we left audio feed, all we could hear was buzzing in our heads. And we would hear, like, we would still hear the music for, like, days.
I
and
remember
it was bad.
I think it was the second year coming home, I went back to work and I remember being on the, like, making a call at work and I was on hold, and so there was hold music, and I remember standing there bouncing my head to the hold music, and I was like, whoa, I can't be doing that.
Good times.
Those were good times. Well, what was your Mundane miracle of this week?
So this week hasn't been it's been a
tough
rough week, and today's only Tuesday. So I'm going to have to go with the lasagna soup that Mariah made yesterday. And sometimes that's just life. Sometimes your only mundane miracle is that, because sometimes
meal.
There's hard times and sometimes there's grief. And yeah, but at least through it all, I could still see that the lasagna soup was the highlight.
Yeah, amen.
Is that yours too?
It was so good. No, I think my mundane miracle is this mug. It was $5 at Target.
True, that
and
is
it's
good.
a self-stirring mug. You just push this button on the handle and it whirs.
And you don't even need a spoon, so it saves you an extra dish.
Yeah. I mean, what could be better? So
it's actually an amazing invention. You should get one
for
from Target.
$5. Actually, please don't get them because we want to buy them all.
True. We do.
So in part 2, we're going to be talking about other music festivals that we went to, other road trips that we took, not just audio feeds. So check out part 2 next week.
Yes. So thanks for listening, and don't forget to comment and tell us what your mundane miracle of the week was.
Like and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.